Hello and welcome.
Hi there.
Today, we are going to tell you a story.
Yeah, a story that really sticks with you.
It starts back in the early days of COVID. You know, that time when everything just stopped. Families were suddenly home all the time.
Right, and trying to adapt. Work from home, school from home.
Exactly. And lots of people brought new tech into their houses for work, sure, but also for connection, maybe even security. Things felt uncertain.
Understandable reasons, really. Trying to maintain some normalcy.
But this story, it takes a turn. It shows how those lines, home, technology, the outside world, can get blurred. Really terrifyingly blurred.
It's based on a first-person account, which makes it even more chilling, I think. A very modern kind of fear.
Definitely. So we'll guide you through what happened, maybe touch on some of the wider implications.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so picture this. A father working from home. Downstairs, living room. His 7-year-old daughter, she's upstairs playing in her room. Pretty standard setup for that time.
Yeah, millions of people were doing the exact same thing.
He's trying to focus on work. Maybe a report or something.
Yeah.
He hears her talking upstairs, which, you know, kids do. Normal.
Playing, talking to herself, maybe.
But then he hears something else. Faint, but definitely there. An unfamiliar male voice talking back to her.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's immediately wrong.
Right. That immediate jolt. A sound that just doesn't belong in that quiet house on a weekday afternoon.
No, absolutely not. Your mind would instantly go into overdrive.
Exactly. He's sitting there just shocked, trying to rationalize it. Is it audio from his work call? Did it leak somehow?
Well, maybe it's part of a game she's playing. Some sound effect.
He thinks that too. iPad game audio. But the feeling, that gut feeling, it persists. He knows it came from upstairs, from her room.
You can't easily shake that kind of feeling.
No. So he makes an excuse, hangs up his work call quickly, and heads upstairs.
Okay.
He gets to her room, opens the door. She's alone, just sitting there playing on her iPad.
Right. So on the surface, nothing seems amiss.
Nothing obvious. He asks her, casually as possible, "Hey, who are you talking to?"
And what does she say?
She gives him that classic kid answer when they're trying to dodge something. I don't know.
I don't know, which usually means I do know, but I'm not telling you.
Totally. He knows that's often her code for, I don't want to talk about it. He does a quick scan of the room, checks the closet maybe. Nothing. Nobody there.
So he has no proof, just that really unsettling feeling.
Right. He tries to push it down, dismisses it. Must have been my imagination. Or maybe I misheard. He goes back downstairs, finishes his work.
Trying to get back to normal.
Yeah. The rest of the day seems normal. Wife comes home, dinner, they play games. Usual bedtime routine for their daughter. But for him, it's still nagging at him.
That unease doesn't just vanish.
No. He actually wrestles with telling his wife, should he mention it, but he decides against it.
Why? Because he couldn't explain it.
Yeah, basically. He has no proof, nothing solid. He doesn't want to freak her out over something he convinced himself was probably, nothing. A mistake.
Makes sense, but that internal conflict must have been tough.
And then that night, things get weirder for him.
Okay, how so?
This is where it gets really unsettling, kind of psychologically. His conscious mind tried to dismiss the voice, right? But clearly, it burrowed deeper.
The subconscious doesn't forget that easily.
No. He describes having these awful, fragmented dreams. He's sort of dipping in and out of sleep, and he experiences what he thinks is sleep paralysis.
That feeling of being awake but unable to move, hearing things.
Exactly. He says he could hear faint voices, feel this pressure. And in that half-awake state, he could almost make out a male voice speaking again. But not clearly, just indistinct words, which just made it feel even more confusing and, frankly, scary.
So the event from the day is literally haunting his sleep, making the threat feel much more present, even if he's trying to rationalize it.
Totally. He wakes up the next morning just panicked. His wife is getting ready for the day. And the first thing he asks her really urgently is, "Did you hear anything last night?"
Holding his breath for the answer, I bet.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she just says, "No." Simple as that. And he feels this huge wave of relief wash over him.
Okay, so he has an explanation, sort of.
Yeah, he grabs onto it. It must have been sleep paralysis. Weird, he'd never had it before, but okay. That explains the voices, the feeling. He tries to just put the whole thing behind him.
It's what we do, isn't it? Find the rational explanation, even if it feels a bit thin, because the alternative is too much.
Exactly. Okay, so let's fast forward. It's the following Friday, workday, dragging on.
Yep.
His daughter finishes her online school stuff, comes downstairs. She asks if she can go outside and play.
Normal kid request.
Yeah, but he's still working. He tells her no, not until he's finished. Same rule as always. She gets upset, a little tantrum maybe, but she knows the deal.
Okay.
About an hour later, he finishes up, goes upstairs to check on her, maybe tell her she can go out now. But she's just sitting there calmly reading a book.
Oh, changed her mind.
Apparently. He asks her, hey, still want to go outside? And she just casually says, nah, I just want to read. He's tired, relieved, there's no argument, so he just goes back downstairs to relax before his wife gets home.
These little things, right? Her suddenly not wanting to go outside. Looking back, they probably feel significant.
Absolutely. They start to stack up. So his wife gets home maybe half an hour later. Evening is normal again, dinner, maybe a movie, some family games. They stay up a bit later than usual.
Just a regular Friday night.
Pretty much. But as they're getting ready for bed, his wife asks him something that just brings that cold, uneasy feeling right back.
What does she ask?
Another piece of the puzzle, right? But it seems totally random at first.
Okay.
She asks him, hey, did anyone stop by the house earlier? He's like, no, why? She says when she pulled into the driveway, there was this car parked right at the curb outside their house. And the second she pulled in, the car just drove away.
Whoa. Okay, that's definitely strange.
He's emphatic. No, nobody was here. We're strictly social distancing, COVID, and all that.
Right, nobody was supposed to be visiting.
She pauses, then says, yeah, probably just neighbors. But then she adds, I think I saw that same car here on Monday.
Oh, not just today then.
And maybe even the week before that.
Okay, so this isn't random. This is potentially someone watching the house, a pattern.
A recurring presence, yeah. She actually jokes about it, like, I hope you're not having women over while I'm at work, trying to lighten the mood before bed.
But underneath the joke, there's probably real concern starting.
You didn't think so. Thankfully, he says he slept okay that night. Saturday comes and goes, nothing weird happens, everything feels normal again. Until Sunday dinner.
What happened then?
His daughter says something completely unexpected and really, really alarming.
Okay.
The kind of thing a kid says that just makes your blood run cold.
Yeah.
Totally out of the blue. In the middle of dinner, she asks them, what is machete?
Oh my God, no. Where would a 7-year-old even hear that word?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He describes looking across the table at his wife, their eyes locking. Just pure shock and concern. They're racking their brains. Did they watch something, talk about something, anything with that word?
And nothing comes to mind.
Nothing. His wife, trying to stay calm, asks her, honey, where did you hear that word? And her answer.
Let me guess. I don't know.
Worse. She said she forgot.
Oh, that feels even more deliberate, like a lie.
He says it felt like a total lie. Something was definitely wrong. He gently pushes, asks if anything's bothering her, hoping she'll finally open up. But she just plasters on a smile and says everything is great.
Defensive. Trying too hard to seem okay.
Totally. She says, I made a really good friend. My teacher's nice. Online school is fine. Just rattling off positive things.
Trying to shut down the questioning.
He feels torn. He describes this awful feeling, like hating himself for wishing something was wrong, just so she'd confide in them. But they decide, okay, let's respect your boundaries for now. Don't push too hard. They drop it for the evening.
That's such a tough position for a parent. Balancing concern with wanting your child to feel safe talking to you.
Incredibly difficult. So later that night, daughter's asleep. They're sitting together, maybe watching TV, maybe just quiet. And the father just can't shake it anymore. This horrible gut feeling that's been festering.
It's all coming together now.
Yeah. He knows he has to tell his wife.
Yeah.
Everything. The voice he thought he heard that first day, the weird dream, the sleep paralysis thing, the car she saw, and now this completely bizarre machete question.
Laying it all out.
And as he's talking, putting all these pieces together out loud, he has this dawning realization.
What's that?
His daughter. She had been spending way more time alone in her room since COVID started, much more than usual. And suddenly, that felt really, really strange. For an only child stuck at home, unable to see her friends. Why would she choose more isolation?
Yeah, that doesn't quite track, does it? Usually kids in that situation are craving interaction.
Unless something or someone was keeping her occupied in there. The pieces start clicking into place, and the picture they form is deeply disturbing. Potential isolation and outside influence.
Oh, man.
He basically spills everything, all his fears and suspicions, for like 20 minutes straight. His wife just listens. Her face is kind of blank at first, Then she looks down. He can see it hitting her, the weight of it all.
She's processing it, connecting her own observations, maybe?
Yeah. Then she looks up at him, eyes full of tears, and she just starts crying.
Yeah.
They just hold each other, all that fear and anxiety they'd both been suppressing, it just comes pouring out.
That shared terror must have been overwhelming.
And then, right then, in that quiet moment, holding each other,
Yeah.
they hear it again.
No.
The voice.
The male voice.
The same unfamiliar male voice.
Yeah.
Coming from upstairs.
Yeah.
From their daughter's room.
Oh, God.
This time, there's no hesitation. No rationalizing. He just springs up, races upstairs, slams her door open.
Adrenaline just takes over.
Totally. And his daughter is just sitting there on her bed, staring at him.
Yeah.
But her expression is pure horror. Like he's the intruder.
She's scared of him interrupting something.
It seems that way. He's yelling, "Who's there? Who's in here?" He tears the room apart, under the bed, in the closet, pulling stuffed animals everywhere. Nothing.
Nobody's physically there.
Checks the window, nobody outside.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense. How is this voice getting in?
Yeah.
And that's when his wife, who's come up right behind him, asks the question. The one that changes everything.
What does she ask?
She says, "Is it? It's coming from the camera."
The baby monitor. Or a security camera.
Yeah, some kind of camera they had in her room. He turns, looks at his wife, then at his daughter. And their daughter. She just hesitantly nods her head. Yes.
Oh, no. The camera itself.
The camera. He said his fear just instantly turned to this blinding rage
Yeah.
and heartbreak. The camera he put in there for her safety, supposedly, to check on her. That was the source, the gateway.
The thought of some stranger watching, talking to his child through that, it's sickening.
Unbearable. He grabs the nearest thing, a stool, and just starts ripping the camera off the wall, dismantling it, hands shaking with fury and just disgust. And right at that moment, the doorbell rings.
Seriously, who's that?
It's the police.
The police. How? Did they call them?
No, apparently not. But they're there. He goes down, still reeling, answers the door. He just explains everything that literally just happened.
Yeah.
The voice, the camera, his daughter's reaction.
And what did the police say?
This is maybe the most surprising part. They don't seem shocked.
Not really. They've seen this before.
But apparently, yes.
Yeah.
They explained that this kind of thing, well, it happens. Especially with home security cameras, monitors, things that connect to Wi-Fi but maybe don't have the best security features. Hackers can get in
They can compromise the feed, watch, listen.
and even use the microphone and speaker to talk through it, which the father said was obviously news to him. He just assumed these things were secure.
A lot of people make that assumption. It's terrifying.
Yeah. So the officers ask if they can speak to his daughter. Gently, of course. And what she tells them, he described it as just soul-crushing.
Oh, I can only imagine. What did she say?
This is where you understand just how deep this went, how insidious it was.
Okay.
She confessed it to the police officer. It had been going on for almost 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. The voice started talking to her. It became her friend.
Oh, God, grooming her.
Absolutely. They'd talk after school. The voice learned about her, her interests, what cartoons she liked, pretending to like the same things, building rapport.
Standard manipulation tactic.
But crucially, the voice learned their family's routine, what time her dad finished work, when her mom usually got home, her online school schedule, even her friends' names.
Gathering intelligence about the whole family through the child.
And the voice zeroed in on her vulnerability, her loneliness during lockdown, not being able to see her friends. It preyed on that isolation, built this connection, this supposed friendship, right there in her bedroom.
Using the technology meant to connect or protect her as a weapon against her, exploiting that isolation.
It all suddenly clicks for the father. The voice he heard, that weird dream, the car outside, her suddenly not wanting to go outside that Friday, probably because her friend was talking to her. He felt physically sick. Why didn't she tell them?
That's the heartbreaking question.
The officer asked her the same thing, very gently. And after some reassurance, his daughter explained why she kept the secret.
There was a threat involved, wasn't there?
Yeah, a really specific, nasty one. This is the tactic they used to keep her quiet, to maintain control.
What did the voice say?
The voice told her their friendship had to be their special secret, just between them. And if she told anyone, her mom, her dad, anyone, about them talking,
Yes.
someone was going to come and hurt him with a machete.
Oh my God. Hurt the friend, the voice.
Yeah, hurt the voice with a machete. And if that happened, if she told them this, then they could never talk or play again.
That is deeply manipulative. Using a violent, specific threat directed at the entity she thinks is her friend, to terrify her into silence. It isolates her completely, makes her feel responsible for the friend's safety.
Exactly. It's horrifying. The policeman listening, he notes that this feels different. It's not like the usual prank calls they sometimes get through hack devices. This feels more malicious.
Yeah.
Targeted.
Yeah, the information gathering, the grooming, the specific threat. It points to something more sinister than kids messing around.
Right. So the officer wants to take protective measures immediately. He strongly advises them, take down all the cameras in the house. And given the car sightings and the nature of this, he suggests they don't stay there for a few days.
Get them out of the house.
Yeah. Go stay with a family member or maybe even a hotel, especially with COVID, making things complicated. While they're gone, the police will increase patrols in the area. Keep an eye out for that car the wife described.
Trying to ensure immediate safety and see if they can catch whoever was potentially staking out the house.
So the family did leave. They went to stay with the wife's brother for a couple of weeks. They stayed in touch with the police for months afterwards, sharing any updates.
But nothing came of it.
Unfortunately, no. Nothing ever came of the incident. The car wasn't spotted again, no leads on the hacker. Just silence.
That lack of closure must be incredibly difficult.
He says it took a long, long time for them to feel safe in their own home again. Both parents still struggle with the memory, the violation.
I can't even imagine.
But they do find some small comfort, he says, in the fact that their daughter doesn't grasp the true intentions of the man behind that voice. She knows it was bad, that he lied, but not the full potential danger.
Protecting her from the worst of it.
Yeah. They decided they won't tell her the full, terrifying reality until she's much, much older.
Understandable. That's a heavy burden for a child.
This whole story, it just really hammers home a chilling point, doesn't it? These things we bring into our homes, cameras, monitors, smart devices, for convenience, for security.
Yeah, if they're not properly secured, they can become the exact opposite. A gateway. An open door for intrusion. It forces you to think about the vulnerabilities we often overlook with our connected tech.
And it shows how quickly someone malicious can spot vulnerability like a child's loneliness during lockdown and exploit it.
The way trust was built, that fake friendship, and then immediately weaponized with that violent threat about the machete to guarantee silence. It's a deeply disturbing pattern. It's predation, plain and simple, using technology as the tool.
It really makes you ask, doesn't it? In these homes that are getting smarter and more connected all the time, relying on tech for everything, what's the actual cost of that convenience?
Are we really thinking enough about the security side, especially devices with cameras and microphones placed in our most private spaces like a child's bedroom?
It's a powerful reminder, this story. The dangers we worry about aren't always outside, trying to get in. Sometimes they find a way in through the very technology we invite over the threshold ourselves.
It definitely leaves you with a heavy question. How do we make sure these tools, the ones we use for comfort, for security, don't end up becoming these massive, unforeseen vulnerabilities? How do we protect ourselves and our families in this connected age?
Something important to think about. Thank you for joining us for this story today.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
If you found this story compelling, please do like, share, and subscribe to the Horror Docs channel. We appreciate your support. Goodbye.